Hey guys, this is Jason Creel, and appreciate you guys joining me. That's some of you know we've been doing this for quite a while, Monday nights, and we hang in here for about an hour. And so the way it works, typically, if you're new to the platform, basically you just put your questions over in the chat section. And as you'll see, I'm not alone tonight. We do have a guest. We've got Kevin Hall with GPS Trackit, and GPS Trackit is a regular sponsor on the channel, so happy to have Kevin on here. The plan is tonight is we will definitely get to your lawn care questions, and then throughout the night we'll also I've got some questions for Kevin, and he's gonna tell us about the software. But feel free to ask me whatever you want in the comment section over here. You can ask lawn care business, about your own personal lawn. If I don't know the answer, we'll find somebody that does, hopefully. So, and I know some of you guys will end up watching by replay, and that is fine as well. So if you're here, I'm so paranoid on these things because I'm always nervous that the audio and video is not working, but I'm not even going to ask it this time. You just guys let me know if it's not working. I'm just going to assume it is until somebody tells me different.
Yeah, assume the best and move on, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Kevin. Why don't you just briefly introduce yourself and GPS Trackit, and then we'll get to the question. You guys start posting questions. I'm going to let Kevin introduce himself and tell us about these companies with.
Yeah, no, hey, Jason, we really appreciate the opportunity to join you. We've been a fan. We have tons of customers in the lawn and landscaping space, small business. And so just happy to join. You got an awesome thing going here, and happy to share some time with you. But yeah, GPS Trackit, we are a sort of an all-in-one fleet management solution. So tracking your vehicles, tracking your assets, and really getting more out of your fleet. I mean, that's one of the most expensive things that we own, right? Or the people in our fleets, our vehicles and our lawnmowers, all of the tools that we use. So just keeping track of them, keeping them well maintained, and using a lot of the information that you get to better your business. So yeah, just happy to join today and share what knowledge we have and chat a bit about the lawn and landscaping space and anything we can do to help folks out there with fleet.
Yeah, if you guys want to put Kevin on the spot with lawn questions, go ahead. We'll see what
You should see my lawn.
Yes. All right, so let's see what we got here. First question that we got, Shane. I'm going to call that Whittemore. And it says, good evening. What's the real concern as it relates to prodiamine limits? Will it hurt the turf? Will the turf become resistant, or is it a law? What's the reason? Well, I think you hit on all the real concerns, but if I had to rank them in order, I would say, you hear it all the time. The label is the law. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, prodiamine is a very commonly used pre-emergent that I use a lot in January, February, March, and sometimes we put it out in the fall as well. But they'll have, if you read the label, which I encourage you to do, there will be a limit of the annual limit. I have like a one-time limit, like on this particular application, don't go over this limit. And then oftentimes it'll have an annual limit. So, they're also be concerned about root pruning and things like that. But it's really, I think sometimes the problem that homeowners make sometimes is they think if a little bit works good, a lot must work great kind of mentality. So if the label says I need 2 ounces per gallon to kill this weed, well, what if I tripled it? It'd really kill it, And most of the time, not only are you doing something that's going off label, but it's just totally unnecessary. You can actually go mid-rate on most products, and it's quite effective. Patrick jumps in and says, hello. WM, thoughts about fall core aeration? Well, I am in Alabama, so we're not nearly as big into the aeration, overseeding things as all my counterparts up in the Midwest and up in the Northeast. So those guys are regularly, this time of year, I think is big money makers for those guys because they're like they're aerating and overseeding. I do know this, seeds have gone way up this year as far as the pricing of seed. So But, a lot of times I've got a friend that I don't do aeration personally. I got a friend I sub all that out to, and he does it spring and fall. But again, it's different down here. We're not aerating and coming right behind and oversee. There's a few people that oversee the grass, but most people down here, when it's football season, they're tired of mowing and they just want to watch football. So they don't put grass out in the winter. Patrick says it works. So that's good. I have certain patches of centipede that are yellow despite lots of water and fertilizing every 5 weeks. What could be causing this? Possibly, Kevin, you might have told on yourself a little bit. Maybe the fertilizing every 5 weeks. The rule of thumb on centipede grass is no more than 2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet during the calendar year. So, and I'm just elaborate on this a little bit. If you take your bag of fertilizers, let's say it's a 20-2- 14. Okay. The first number is your nitrogen. And if it's a 50-pound bag, you divide that first number in half. So it's going to give you 10, because you divide 20 by 2 is 10. So there's 10 pounds of nitrogen in that bag. So if you put that bag out over a 5,000 square foot lawn, then you're using 2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. Well, if you did that every 5 weeks, you're way overdoing it on your centipede. Now, that's just one thing it could be. You could be using a very low nitrogen product, and it might be fine. Like if you're putting out like a Malorganite kind of product, it's probably fine. It's very low nitrogen. It could be possibly weather, it could be drought, it could be herbicide damage. There's just a lot of things, but don't overdo it on your fertilizer. So, all right. Lawnvolution says that I'm the man. That would be.
It really is. So, it's impressive. You answer all these questions.
I had to show that because I get the negative ones on you too. Anyway, what herbicide can I use for a seeded lawn? Can I blanket spray herbicides on a seeded lawn? Let me say this, guys. If you can put on there like where you live and like what kind of grass you're dealing with, because that can be helpful. I don't know. You're going to want to read the labels on a lot of these products, and it will oftentimes tell you on the label how long you have to wait to be able to put out, a herbicide if you've recently seeded a lawn or sodded it, something like that. So you're going to have to check that. But if it's established, there are definitely products you can do. Now, you don't want to put a pre-emergent down before you seed, because that's going to really hinder the seed from taking root. All right, I got one for Kevin. I got a few questions for him. I'm going to throw it his way. You said, and let me ask you this, Kevin, because I know most people that I deal with are like small timers in the lawn business, solo, or maybe I've got some friends that's got 2-3 trucks going and things like that. But we always hear like the fleet management thing. But can you just, what is fleet management software if you had to put it in layman's terms that normal people can understand?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the funny thing is we have a lot of customers who have 200 trucks that started out with a single, just that's how a lot of our customers are. We deal in it's sort of that small, medium-sized business space, and that's how they got started. And they still love to go out and do the jobs and have somebody else do all the logistics. But yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, if you have vehicles, right, or assets you want to protect, post COVID, we saw theft on the rise. So you have a lot of expensive equipment out there, maybe leaving them at job sites, maybe not, trailers. So it's not just vehicles. But the very basic, it is just to track and trace, right? I want to know where these things are. I want to know, are they at the job? And then you kind of get into a little bit more sophistication. So you can build geofences. So you draw a circle around your yard or around your garage and say, if this trailer leaves this thing at night, I want to be notified, right? Just keeping track of all of your material, getting into more advanced things like routing. So we have customers who are able to, because of route optimization and look at route density, even with just a few vehicles, maybe get 1 or 2 jobs, 3 jobs more a week. And another job is more revenue, and more revenue is better for all of us. And then there's things like cost savings. It's looking at your idle time, your fuel usage, and we average about 30% fuel savings across all of our customers, which is pretty significant. I mean, you look at fuel savings on your vehicles, but I think at the end of the day, my dad had a small company. He had a backhoe and dump truck, and he didn't have very many people working for him, but when he first started getting other people to drive his vehicles,
yeah,
his comment was, "Yeah, but that's my name on the side of the door."
Yeah.
And so it may not be specifically your name, but they know you, right? That's at the end of the day. And so just being able to know where they are they speeding? Are they, doing hard turns? Are they whatever they're doing associated with that? Being able to manage your fleet, know where your assets are, and track all that into one spot.
Yeah.
So, high level, that's really what the software does, the technology does today. And there's a lot of more advanced things. We're getting into things like artificial intelligence. So there's a camera in your cab, and are you wearing your seatbelt? Are you smoking? So more advanced stuff. But I think for today, just the basics of keeping track of your fleet, and track of your assets, and utilizing that.
Well, I know it's hard handing your keys over to a vehicle to an employee, and so I think it makes a lot of sense as far as being and the security part. I think that's when I would hear that term fleet manager, I wasn't necessarily thinking of it from a security, the old geofencing thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Theft is just crazy these days. With especially post-COVID, we just saw a continued increase in that. We have customers just getting these asset trackers to keep track of their valuables for those. Yeah,
I got you. All right, El Mino. What does that mean? If you can translate it for us English speakers, saving up for a 30-inch walk-behind mower, what would you recommend? I know Exmark has a nice 30-inch commercial grade walk behind, and I've heard mixed reviews as far as not necessarily about the mower, but mixed reviews about whether people prefer the 30-inch or the 21-inch. Because you think about a 30-inch, obviously it's bigger, you're going to cover more ground, and a 30. I mean, there's almost no gate is going to be less than 30 inches. So I wouldn't say, I want to get the 21 so I can fit through a gate. If somebody has a gate smaller than that, they just need a bigger gate,
Right.
But the 30 inches are going to be heavier, and they probably not going to handle quite as good. That to me, that's been the negative side. So I think you got to weigh the pros and cons. And if you're able to go demo one of each, you may, maybe the 30 is you're doing, obviously I don't know the percentage, but that's about, I don't know, 25 to 30% bigger cut than a 21-inch. But how does it handle and things like that? So, and I'm sure it costs a little bit more. Maintenance, overall quality and duration. Like I said, I'm not familiar with all of them out there, but I do know Exmark makes a nice one. And when I see the mowing companies around, a lot of them are carrying the Exmarks, whether it's the 21s or the 30 on the back of their vehicles. I live in South Florida with a perennial ryegrass seeded lawn. As Antonio was the one asking about what herbicides you could use. Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I guess call me ignorant on this, Antonio. I didn't know perennial ryegrass would do well in South Florida. I assumed everybody had St. Augustine down there. But yeah, I mean, if it's rooted and established, you can, like, I'm out spraying 2,4-D now and mixing it in with my pre-emergent. I'm pretty sure you can use that on a ryegrass lawn. Again, I don't know when you seed it, and I would just check the label and see, hey, is it safe to put to apply it on there now. The prodiamine I use max out rate is 0.83 ounces a year, but that doesn't last all year. What else can I do to have coverage all year long? Yeah, I mean, and that's I think you make a good point, K Dizzle, in your question here, because sometimes there's more than one pre-emergent out there. It's not like prodiamine is the only thing we use. So like I said, I'm pretty much just using prodiamine early in the year. And so I could do max rate prodiamine early in the year and max rate spectacle flow in the fall if I wanted to. So I mean, but again, you're not necessarily sometimes you might have to do split apps too, instead of just saying, I'm going to put out the max rate in one application. So for instance, I use prodiamine, let's say I put out in January, and that's going to pretty much get ahead of my crabgrass problem. Then I come back and put it out again in March, and that's going to, help it extend later on into the spring and hopefully keep some of those weeds out. And then this next year, I'm going to come back probably in May and put Spectacle out to hopefully carry me through the summer, because you're right, it's not going to last all year, but you can use multiple products, and be more effective that way. All right, 2-acre lawn that borders hay fields. Any ideas on controlling weeds? It's a mixed lawn with fescue, mostly Bermuda, Central Virginia. Well, I get this. Sometimes I get this from my customers. They're like, "Look at my neighbor's yard. He didn't do anything to his yard and my yard. I won't mind. I think his weeds are coming over to my yard." Or they'll say, "I think the mowing guy's bringing the weeds on his lawnmower. They're on the deck from the previous yard he cut, and he's bringing." Truth is, weeds are they're everywhere. I tell people the story of my yard. I have 4 acres, and we cleared off probably 2.5 acres and it was totally woods. There was like no grass. You couldn't even walk through it. It was so thick. And I put Bermuda back there and plugged it. And now I go back there and there's nut sedge everywhere and every kind of weed. And it's like, where did it even come from? You tell me it's like it just shows up. Okay. So, I wouldn't so much be mad at your neighbor or mad at the hayfield that borders you. It's just, you use the same practices that you normally would as far as controlling weeds, so pre-emergent, post-emergent, things like that. So anyway, just work on good practices and don't worry about what's next to you, because I can show you pictures. I actually take them sometimes where a customer's lawn and I'll have the neighbor's looks terrible, and you can almost draw a line where I spray and it's just no weeds and tons of weeds, so the chemicals actually work pretty good.
I need those for my landscape. That's my nemesis, or weeds in the landscape, right?
Oh man, I get customers that think, I'm paying you to spray my yard. How come I still have weeds? I'm like, everybody's got weeds, okay?
Everybody's got them.
Anyway, the grass factor. Is that my friend Matt Martin? Matt, if you give me a confirm that, or if it's somebody else that has a similar name. Brian, I do know Brian. Hey, looking forward to seeing it again, the GIE. Yeah, you guys, if you think about going to the GIE Plus Expo, I am going to be on some kind of panel. They're going to be mad at me. I think it's called Influencer Live. Okay, I can't remember what the name of this panel is, but it's a Friday morning thing. I know, I'm trying to think. I think Alan Hain, Paul, I can't remember who's going to be on it, but there'll be some other people on there, but it's not going to be just me. But anyway, Brian, come see us at that thing. Also on Thursday night, they had Naylor Taliaferro. I get confused on his name, but the lawn care rookie, he puts together that big event where it's a lot of the YouTubers and things. And I know we've been in the caverns the last few years, and they've moved it to a new location, but it's sponsored. So I'm hoping to be there. But I'll be at the expo Thursday and Friday this year. We might actually make it a family event. So we'll see. Nice. I think I might be bringing my kids for the first time.
Nice.
Get Matt to join you next, Jason. I would love for Matt. Matt, I would love for you to join me if you would. And thanks for watching. But I get these people asking me cool season questions, and for me, you and I talking, I don't know anything about cool season. I'm not say anything. They're asking me today, can I spray? Matt, chime in on this one. I'm going to let you ask this. Let's see, where'd it go? Antonio, I'm going to get Matt Martin to help you on your question. He says he lives in South Florida, and he's got a perennial ryegrass lawn. And he says, what herbicide can I use for a seeded lawn? Can I blanket spray herbicides on a seeded lawn? So anyway, maybe you can chime in on that if you want. All right. THF is in the house. What's up, Jason? All right. Yes, sir. Matt is confirming that it was him. What's up, Matt? Matt's a big contributor and in the lawn care online community, and has done great things and knows a lot about grass. All right. My neighbor and my property line is defined by my weed control company. I'm thinking what you're saying, Jackie, and I feel like I might have met you before. Your name sounds familiar. Yeah, I think what you're saying basically, like like I was saying, you're making the point that you can spray and it'll, you can tell where your neighbor's line is. What's the best weed killer on the market? You just talking about straight up killer. I mean, it's hard to say what the best is, but if, I don't know if you're trying to kill everything or kill weeds in the lawn without, we still use glyphosate. Of course, it's very controversial depending on who you ask. And if you use any herbicide, of course, you don't follow the label, wear your PPE. But if you just want to kill weeds, it does work for an inexpensive product. All right, Matt, and they're having a conversation on here saying everybody's doing good. Is there a pre-emergent control for chamber bitter? Put out Let's Go 007 with promamine. It's about the only thing that came back this summer. Well, I tell you what, Kevin, it makes you feel better. My yard's got destroyed with chamber bitter this year too. If you're not familiar with chamber bitter, it looks like a baby mimosa tree, and sometimes it just mats up and just take over a yard. And that's one reason I'm going to start using Spectacle in May, because to be honest with you, I'm the same as you. My prodiamine and I'm not saying it does work, because I'll have the neighbor's yard. It'll have way more chamber bitter than my yard, but I'm still getting a lot of breakthrough. So again, Spectacle Flow may not be practical for a lot of homeowners because it is not an inexpensive product, but it is very effective. All right, the South Florida guy, here's Matt's Ansel. That's brutal. Quinclorac, 3-way, tenacity pilots, all good options. Be wary of the heat. Yeah, you're down in South Florida, you are going to have to watch your temperature. You may have to spray early in the morning, late in the evening, and of course check your labels. All right, Jason, give you a big thank you. You, TGF, Grass Factor, and Pete have been a very big part of my spray applicators education. Glad to help, and I know you're a regular commenter on my channel, so I appreciate all the support. You can spray tenacity at seeding on cool season lawns, but most labels suggest to wait at least 2 mowings to spray herbicides. Yeah, that's kind of the general rule of thumb, is wait till you mow it twice before you spray herbicides. So that's a good point. All right, Kevin, bringing you back in. I told Kevin I was going to work him in so he didn't fall asleep on me here. But
this is cool stuff, man. I tell you,
I know. People
questions, yeah.
You guys ask questions. You got questions for me. You got questions for Kevin. And again, for those of you just joining, Kevin is with GPS Trackit. They are a regular sponsor on the channel, and what they do, I have this in my truck. It's a device that plugs into your truck, or you can put devices on lawn equipment, or if you have backhoes or heavy equipment, you can put it on that too. And there's a software side to that hardware device. And so when I get done, I've done some videos on this. When I get done with the day, I go and I look at the software, and it shows me how long I've been idling, and and I tell people it's hot in Alabama. I'm get off of me for idling. That's me sitting in the air conditioning. But it'll show me where I've been driving all over the place, and I've even seen it in my own route. Like literally, I drove past myself from one yard to get to, and then I went backtrack to go back to the yard. And I'm like, but when you see it on the map, it's just like, okay, I could clean up my route a little bit and make it more efficient. But so anyway, the question I got, Kevin, is what do you think? And maybe think of even small timers, versus big timers. But like, what kind of problems do you see? And you alluded to some of the theft and security features, but problems, and then think specifically lawn companies, because that's who we're talking to today. Like, how would you think a fleet management software, specifically your software and hardware, benefit a lawn care company?
Yeah, I think the biggest impact is just what you're talking about in terms of route optimization. I mean, especially when you get to the point of even having one other crew or 2 other crews or 3 other crews. It's easy for like a sole proprietor, sole person to be able to look and see what kind of fuel savings did they have. I actually have a camera in my truck, and I didn't realize I went so fast and turned so hard and braked so hard and all of those things until the thing picked up on it and was telling me in the cab that I was doing all those things. So there's learnings even for some, just a single person. But as you start to get one or two or three other crews that are out there, again, it's your name on the door. You want to make sure that they're going where they're supposed to. We actually have there's technology in there built to communicate with the teams, to see where they are on their route. How long does it take them to go from job 1 to job 2 to job 3? And it's we've had several customers who trying to get those first few people to drive your vehicles and represent your company. That's a big step, man. I mean, that's tough. Y'all know that. And so we had one guy that was saying that his fuel costs were just going through the roof and he couldn't figure out what was going on. And it just seemed like he couldn't really figure it out. And he put some trackers in, and he basically found out that one of his guys was taking the van about 2 hours every evening to go visit his girlfriend. So he quickly put the stops on that and saved quite a bit of money just in the fuel savings. But yeah, just protection of your brand, protection of your company. And then, there's lots of other things like the routing and some of those things, but keeping track of maintenance, just your maintenance records on whether it's a vehicle or, lawnmower. We all know that, a more well-maintained vehicle or lawnmower, whatever it may be, lasts longer, has a better resale value. So being able to track all of those types of things as well built in. And then, basic things, even like timesheets. So, the person's going from stop to stop to stop, and being able to pull that data and show it to your customer and know when they are on specific job sites and when they left and how long it's going to take them to get to the next one. So again, just a lot of that type of basic functionality that we try to do manually now. But if you're busy, you could be doing all this from your mobile phone while you're on a job doing something.
Yeah, I think one thing I realize, and I work by myself most of the time, but I realize that even by myself, time is still my most important thing in my business, and what's my time worth? And if you got employees, to me, it's even more so, because I'm like, I know I'm paying them. I gotta really make sure their time. So, tracking their time. And I could see this being great if you were trying to develop some kind of like bonus structures and you're basing it on performance. And you're Absolutely. Like, literally you can compare your employees side by side and be like, listen, this is my best employee. I mean, I don't, right. It's the absolute data right here in front of me. That's You're right. better than him. So I'm going to give you a raise or bonus or whatever.
Yeah. And even a portion of the fuel savings they get, or a portion of the extra work, extra jobs that they have. We get into, with other fleets, we get into, driver behavior. And so we know whether they're speeding or whether they're braking hard or turning hard or whatever it may be. So just scoring those and promoting good behavior at the end of the day. I think that's not really a big brother kind of thing. It's just really trying to promote those who do what they're supposed to be doing and contributing. And a lot of companies have moved towards that.
All right, let's see what we got here. Matt says that gallery isn't cheap either, but if you get the timing right, it can help with chamber bitter prevention. So yeah, timing is, and that's why I'm thinking about adding the spectacle in May. And the particular weed we're getting destroyed by is doveweed, and it just laughs at prodiamine, just to be honest with you. And so it germinates later than your crabgrass. So I mean, still using prodiamine. I'm not bad mouthing now. I'm going to use it January, February, March, but then coming back with the spectacle in May and try at least on the yards that are eat up with doveweed. And I'm not expecting perfection, but if it can help knock back the doveweed, maybe help with this, some of the other weeds as well, the kalingas and things like that, annual sedges. So we'll see. Where were you on 9/11? What do you remember about that day? Man, that's off the line here subject there. I was actually still in college, if that, I guess, dates myself. Kevin, what about you?
I was not in college. I can tell you that. I remember it. Man, what a great question, and just so thankful for all those folks who were there to respond, and we remember that every year for sure. But I remember I was in a meeting in Ohio. Never forget it. And everybody was walking through. You could see them in the hallway going back and forth and calling, and got multiple calls from my wife. And so I never forget it. Never forget the first time you saw it on the news. And was watching a special the other night. Just those scenes again, every year, those scenes just come back and you get that feeling in your gut. And just what a horrific time. But to remember all of those folks every year is special, but never forget it. Seared in my brain.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like 20 years ago. I know that. But I think too, our country's so divided. I mean, I don't think that's a political statement. That's just fact. But you think back then, wow, it's sometimes a tragedy like that brings out a lot of heroes and it brings a lot of unity and things like that too. So, it was obviously a tragic thing, but there are some positives that came out of it.
Absolutely.
What's the best solution for nutgrass in plant beds? Nutgrass, it's often called nutgrass, really it's nut sedge, but I mean, it's tough to kill. I mean, in a flower bed, you spray it with Roundup and things like that. I'm not sure as far as the pre-emergent, like I'm using glyphosate mixed with SureGuard is kind of my flower bed mix, and it'll definitely put a hurting on the nut sedge and things like that. I'm not sure if it necessarily kill it or that it won't be back later. And then you got like the granular pre-emergence that you can go over the top plants with in your flower beds, like Freehand, Snapshot, and things like that. But I'm not sure if they're going to help with the sedges or not. Somebody else might help me out on that. I have portions of my lawn that are freshly sodded. I live in eastern North Carolina. Do I need to make sure not to apply pre-emergent on the new sod areas? My sod is Zoysia compadre. I'm not familiar with that particular variety of the Zoysia compadre. Is that, if you don't mind, tell me about, is that one of the wider blade ones, or is that more of the narrow fine blade like the emerald Zoysia? But yeah, I mean, I probably would not go with the pre-emergent, or I probably wouldn't spray anything on it right now. So if it was newly sodded in your East North Carolina, I mean, my goal at that point was like, I'm hoping it gets through the winter, and I don't know, you may be in more coastal area where it doesn't get as cold, but like I was talking to a customer today, and she had a Bermuda yard, and she had these Bradford pears hanging over in the yard. Of course, the Bermuda's not growing underneath the Bradford pear trees, and it had weeds, and she's wanting to know why she had weeds. And I was trying to explain to her, you virtually have no grass under the, it's hard to keep weeds out when you have almost bare dirt. And I said, but you know what? If you put some emerald zoysia under there, I do think it would grow. I think it's getting enough sunlight where that would grow instead of your Bermuda being super thin. And I was just telling her, I said, if you're going to do that, I would do it ASAP, like right away, and hopefully it'll get established at least a little bit before winter. What you don't want to do is, put it out in November and then get a hard, cold freeze and, in the winter and it not survive. So my goal would be for that zoysia is not spraying any kind of herbicide to set it back, but let's just get it through the winter and, and just evaluate it in February and see how well is it rooted, and then make a decision whether you want to put a pre-emergent on it at that point or not. All right. Gus says, love the videos. Thanks for the info. Thank you, Gus. Jackie says, I'm 3 years into my lawn treated 3 years in, and I see the payoff. It's not perfect, but it's 100 times better. Yep, it definitely works, and it's definitely not perfect. I think you said it best. So that's the two things I try to communicate to new customers. I said, what I'm doing to your yard will definitely work, and it's definitely not perfect. What's your company name, and is it a one-time purchase or monthly fee? How do I visually track vehicles history on my phone, or does your company reserve the file? Is that a question for you, Kevin?
That is absolutely something that I actually.
Good, because I didn't know the answer to that. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate the question, Vincent. Yeah, so GPS Trackit, gpstrackit.com is the company name. We have tons of lawn landscape customers. That's one of our specialties, and so we deal with exactly what you're going through day in and day out. But so we have it basically comes down to a monthly fee. You can buy the little device; it's pretty inexpensive, or you can wrap it all into one monthly fee. So you're probably for fleet, you're probably talking about $21.95 a month. The one thing we do for companies like yours is we offer seasonal pause. So like on your down seasons, you can actually call us and we reduce that rate down during those pause periods. But yeah, you can pull up your vehicles, track them. It has the little tracing, across where you see them, each point. You can click on any point, see how fast they were going, which direction they were going. And then you can even play it. So if you want to look at where they traveled in the last day, you click a little play button and you'll see it driving on the road on the map. But yeah, so we keep all of that data for as long as you are a customer. So you always have it there to look back on and have that history log within that. So yeah, great question.
Hey, you're going to take over the interview here, Kevin, because
hey, that's okay.
Oh boy, I wish I had the GPS tracking system years ago. Lost 20,000 in equipment, including my Exmark Laser Z, with 34 hours on it. My entire lawn care trailer and equipment was stolen. It can happen. Unfortunately, that is all too common story. I'm sure you've probably heard similar stories to that, Kevin.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised how many calls we get from customers saying, somebody just stole my whatever, my Exmark Laser Z2, right? Or my trailer or my van or whatever. Can you help me trace it? Or can you help me, they may have not used the software. They just want to jump in and find it. But yeah, I mean, you talk about lost $20,000 in one, just like that, right? And so, for a couple $100 a year, you can keep track of that thing and just have that protection at the end of the day. It's kind of like insurance, be able to recover those. And we've helped a lot of customers recover that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It can happen. It's increasing every day. And that's what you all use every day is all that equipment. And it is quite expensive. And, you guys are hard workers. You put those things through the test too. So you wear them out for sure.
Let me ask you this. I know I've got the little piece of hardware in my truck. Is it similar that goes on a lawnmower or was it a different kind of device?
Yes, we have a wired device that can wire into the power, so you don't have to worry about battery. But we do have a battery operated one. We call it we just basically you peel it and slap it onto the side of whatever you want to track, and it's battery operated, so it'll update when it's moving, or otherwise if it's just sitting there, it'll update once a day so you can keep track of it. But again, it's all around just keeping up to date on your assets, where they are, and if they start moving, again, you can build those rules. So if you're out on a job site, you can get a text message saying this thing left the job or left the garage or whatever it was.
Yeah. The Grass Factor says one big advantage I've seen using GPS systems is when customers accuse you or a tech of ghosting the lawn and being able to see you were there for 13 or 14 minutes. Yeah, I think I had somebody, and I've heard this before. I had it happen to me one time when I was mowing lawns. Somebody accused us of not mowing their lawn. I was like, I understand it when you're spraying because, there's nothing but my sign in the yard. And if there's fertilizer, you can go see the fertilizer. But, a lot of times they're spraying liquid and they get home. Now so many people have cameras and everything. Of course, I would never endorse ghosting a lawn, but it does happen. But yeah, when you mowing, it's like, what do you mean we didn't mow your grass? Like, it's shorter than it was when you left this morning, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we get that. We get that a lot. That's a great point, Grass Factor. It's, just having evidence and that your driver was there, or, maybe in some cases you want to show that they weren't in a specific spot, right? Based on something that may have happened in that area. But it's a great point. We see that all the time. That's actually one of the surprising things I learned as we got into the lawn landscaping here. As I started doing this, was just that you have so many customers who just question whether you were actually there. You would think you see the lawn mowed and everything we needed, but still, proof is valuable for sure.
Yeah, I had a customer this year, and they've been a customer 2 or 3 years. I feel like, and they want to know if I did their backyard. It's like, we know you did your front. Did you do my backyard? I like, yeah, I did your backyard. I was riding on a machine. I said, you could probably see the tire tracks back there where I was spraying liquid. But I'm just like, if you don't trust me any more than that, like literally think I'm just like not going to do part of your yard.
Absolutely.
He says that was years ago. This is the guy with the lawnmower got stolen, but still recovered. It not only the financial blow, just the just the emotional hit, and it's just like you just get hammered when that happens. I know, and if you've been saving up, let's say you had a sorry lawnmower and you're saving up, you go buy that new Exmark, it's got 34 hours on it or whatever, and it gets stolen. I mean, I bet that.
Oh yeah, gut punch. Yeah, that's a prized possession. Absolutely.
Yeah. If I wait for the first frost to apply my fall pre-emergent, most likely a lot of weed seeds already germinated. What other concerns would I have to deal with, and how should I deal with them on Bermuda? Yes, you are correct. If you wait until the first frost, you will definitely have a lot of weeds germinated already. So my question is, well, I'm going to recommend not doing that. Okay, so don't and what we tell people. I mean, I'm already spraying fall pre-emergent, okay, and it's 82 degrees or whatever, but I can't do hundreds of yards. There's this perfect week out there where it's gonna, there's gonna come a rain shower, and then it's gonna drop down lower, upper 40s or something, and a lot of the POA is gonna start germinating, things like that. Well, I can't get out there and spray everybody's yard that same week, so I'm gonna be early on some. I'm going to be just right on a few, and I'm going to be late on some. So that's why I'm putting out spatchicol. Hopefully it will, I get it out and get it watered in before I get that cool night. But if I'm late, it has the ability to hopefully reach back and kill some of the baby POA. I'm putting simazine in there with it, which can also help with the POA. And then I've got like metsulfuron or 2,4-D or something like that go in there if you get some broadleaf stuff that's already popping up, or maybe you're just finishing off some warm season weeds, then it can help with that. So, I mean, yeah, timing is very important, but it's hard to be perfect on your timing. So you put multiple products in there to where, hopefully if you're a little bit early. Now, you don't want to be too early on your fall pre-emergent because if it's so hot, it's going to break down faster. It's just not going to last. So, again, I started a day after Labor Day, and I'll be spraying on probably take me until mid-October. But anyway, that's me in the Birmingham, Alabama market. If you were further south and warmer temperatures, you could wait and start later because it's going to be longer before it gets cooler weather. All right, Jamie says, I live in Southeast Georgia, and I have St. Augustine grass. I fertilize in early September with a 16-4-8 slow release with micronutrients. So I fertilize again with a 7-0-20 for winter. I mean, when you say Southeast Georgia, you may be, I don't know. Does your grass? I don't know if you get any freezing weather; it goes totally dormant. But I'm going to think even there in Southeast Georgia, it's not really growing a whole lot. So I mean, I don't personally fertilize my yard. I quit fertilizing. I don't even know, probably July. I haven't been fertilizing much since then, so I wouldn't worry about it. Your yard is going to use up a lot of the nutrients over the course of the wintertime. And so that's why sometimes in the spring, you're able to start putting the nutrients back in the soil to benefit the yard. Andy says, Andy from Georgia, Catala, I guess you would say. I don't know. Are you familiar with that area?
Yeah.
Kevin, do you live in Georgia?
I do not. No, we have an office in Roswell, so very familiar.
Okay, I knew y'all had some people in Georgia.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you lived in Georgia.
No.
I really enjoy your content and your perspective on the reality of weeds and impervious lawns. Getting ready for fall pre-emergent spectacle flow is $3 signs with big eyeballs. Yeah, it is that the initial purchase is, but when you actually, if you again, it might cost $1,600 for a gallon of it, and I'll use it. So I use it for my business. I pay a lot of money to get it, but then when they get out there and spray the yard, I'm like, it cost me like $4 to spray that yard. So I'm like, it's really not terrible. Like I'm using it 6.5 ounces per acre, and some people use split out, and they're going 3 ounces per acre and 3 ounces per acre. So when you're talking about 3 ounces of it covering an acre or 6.5 ounces covering an acre, the cost is not terrible. I mean, it might be $3 per 1,000. So yeah, maybe I'm $4 would be pretty small yard, but you get the point. It's not terrible, but yeah, and you can, if you're just a homeowner, you can buy a smaller jug. You'll pay a little bit more per for the volume. But Compadre's a medium blade. Okay, so we have a lot of like Z52 or Myers Zorgia around here, so I'm assuming it's kind of looks more like that versus the real fine blades like the Emerald Zorgia. My friend Paul Jameson, still awake over in Atlanta. What's up, Paul? Good to hear from you, and appreciate you chiming in. Oh, here, yeah, just like on the Paul Feinbaum show, first-time caller, long-time listener. He ain't first-time nothing. He ain't a long-time listener either. I don't believe it. Kevin, question for you. Does the service operate on a 4 or 5G, and will it work in Canada and Mexico?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you currently have some older technology, for example, the 3G networks, if you already had it, you want to make sure that you upgrade those devices because carriers are going to be shutting those networks down. But yes, work in Canada and Mexico as well. If you have any locations down in Latin America, we can even go down into those Colombia, Peru, some of those places with our service.
Let me ask you this: How do you, when you're like, and I'll say this, the customer service for GPS Trackit is fantastic, and you just know that when you say what you will about Amazon, people love them or hate them, but when I call Amazon, I think their customer service is excellent, and it just is. I don't know how. And same thing with GPS Trackit. When I signed up with them, they got like this onboarding person that starts emailing me to set up my onboarding call, and it's just like, okay, these guys got their act together, and you'll pick up on that right off. So, but what would you say? Because like I said, a lot of people are small timers. How do you? And it's not. I guess you're saying it was like $20-something a month. That's not bad. But how do you advise somebody who's like thinking about doing it and saying, yes, this is a good investment for my business, or no, maybe not right now?
Yeah, again, I think if you're a single person, again, it's going to help you just with the knowing what you're doing, trying to retrain some of your habits, maybe just tracking some of those things, and again, evidence, right? I was there on this job site. I can show you where we were. Yeah. But again, if you start to get more and more vehicles and more crews, that's really where the advantage comes into play. And then again, we mentioned the theft piece, but you talk about customer service, and our CEO mentions we're a service company. I relate it to my dad. Again, he had a small construction company, and he was so proud that after the first couple of years, he didn't have to do any advertising. And I've heard some of your previous things, Jason, about how to attract customers and the importance of keeping happy customers. And I'm sure you all and many people listening, that's how they earn business, right? They keep customers happy and they refer them and go through there. And that's really how we make a lot of our business. That's why we're sponsoring this. We love the lawn landscape space. It's exactly what we do. Our folks have years of experience with customers just like, this. They sort of live and breathe it. And so, yeah, customer service is top of mind for us because, we want referrals. We want 5-star reviews from our customers. And that's going to mean more business for us down the road. But so easy to get started. I think a lot of people are fearful of technology. They kind of worry about it. But you guys are so smart. I mean, just stuff you guys were throwing out there. I mean, the technology shouldn't be fearful of that. I mean, we're on podcasts right now, so if you can browse a website, you can pretty much use the software. It's plug and play. So the little devices that we send you, you plug them into the ODB2 port on your vehicle, or you can wire them up. You guys are easy to do that kind of stuff. But I even hooked up my camera. I have a AI camera in my truck, and I even did that, and I'm not too mechanically inclined. But easy plug and play stuff, and then it's set up, and you can use it on your phone or web browser, whichever you want, tablet, while you're out on the road, and it's right there for you.
Yeah, I'll second the easy part. It literally is this thing you plug, whatever you call that O port thing.
Yeah.
There's a little port thing down there where you dash. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, you just plug the thing in right there.
Right. Yeah.
And then when you get on the computer, the thing's tracking you all the time. And so anytime you want to go look at the software side of it, you just look on there and they say, oh, yep, I went there. Then I went to the grocery store, and then I stopped over there, and then I went there. And it's like, and it tells me how many miles I drove, and how, all the efficiency kind of stuff, how idle time and all that. So
yeah, I went through the McDonald's drive-through the other day, and I thought, boy, I better unplug this thing because I don't want people watching me eat while I'm driving here.
That's right. Well, I'm my own boss. I don't have to. Nobody's going to yell at
Nobody's
me.
going to watch you. Yeah.
Paul, the most important comment of the night, Roll Tide Road. His Buckeyes took a whooping the other day against who was that? Oregon. So Alabama's got Florida this week. We'll see what happens. 40 yards, $300 today. That's what I made. I haven't done that in forever. I know the guys that make more, but I'm happy with that by myself. That's great, man. Appreciate it. I always tell people, like, lawn care, whether you jump in full time or whatever, it's got to be one of the greatest part time jobs of all time. I mean, for high schoolers to college people to grown ups who want to just make some extra money on the side or after work or on the weekends. I mean, it's just hard to duplicate that with a regular job. You go out there and you just say, I'm gonna mow 3 yards when I get off work, and you make $150 or whatever it is. It's just pretty great. So, hello, my first time here. How can you keep route consolidation if you can't get the houses close together? Yeah, that we talk about like route density or route consolidation all the time, and I like it's good points. The other day I was working in this neighborhood, and I think I did 19 yards, and it was 12:34 it was lunchtime, 12:34, and I did 19 yards. Now I'm out there spraying pre-emergence, pulling hoses and all that, and I got inside. I couldn't feel my legs. I was so tired, and it's on the heels and all that. But I thought that's good. That's my route density. That's what I'm trying to do. I didn't get the first year. Okay. It's how you get 5 the first year, and 5 the second year, and 5 the third year, and then before you know it, I've got maybe 25 in that neighborhood.
And I'm sure a lot of that was referrals, right? So I'm sure.
I mean, you get the referrals, and you might even target your marketing toward those neighborhoods. So I think, William, if I had to give a little bit of advice, you got to sort of pick the neighborhoods that have that potential to it. So some neighborhoods, it's just like there's just not 19 yards in there that people are even going to pay for lawn service. So I'm not saying don't waste your time, don't take somebody, but that's not going to be, a yard that you're going to be able to really build around. So you got to pick the right neighborhoods. And then when you're in the neighborhood, you get that first customer. Now you at least got a presence in there, and you got a better chance of getting the neighbor. It's funny how many times that you'll see, I'll be in a neighborhood that's got, let's say, 200 homes in it, and I've got 8 customers in there. Well, 6 of them are on the same street because the neighbors on that street talk to each other. And I'm like, if I could just get one on another street, then I can start building on that street. So it's just got to get started. I know it can be discouraging when you're first getting going, but anyway.
Yeah, and seeing your vehicle on the roads too,
Yes.
On the side, they're looking for somebody, and they just see you driving down the street, or you're there on a regular basis. That helps significantly as well. Yeah,
and being there, I tell people if I'm starting out, I'm gonna be out on a Saturday in the spring when people are out in the yard. I'm out there working on Saturday. I'm like, hey, I'm here to do yard because people are just seeing you, and the neighbor comes out and things like that. All right, we're gonna go speed mode here. We got about 7 minutes left. Jason, do you include a fall pre-emergent fert treatment when you do spectacle on Bermuda? No, I don't. I do not. I quit fertilizing in the sun. I use slow release fertilizers when I put it out in May or June. I mean, that needs to carry me the rest of the growing season. So I'm trying to spread as few times as possible, and I'm using more expensive fertilizer to do that. That's just my strategy. You don't have to do that. You can spread more often. But I go expensive on the fertilizer so I don't have to do it as many times. How much lime do you put out per acre? I'm using this enhanced limestone, and I put out a 50-pound bag for every 10,000 square feet. Unless the yard is just sad and looks terrible, then I may double that because we have acidic soil in my area, so we put lime as part of our program. What's the advantage of the stand-on versus sit-on? Stand-on is just a more compact design. You can hop on and off of them without having to get up out of your seat and everything. I mean, you can leave the thing running, hop off, open the gate, and jump back on. But it's compact for fitting on a trailer, compact for fitting in tight spaces on the yard. I would say on hills they're very comparable. Neither is as good as a walk behind, but both adequate on hills. And then sometimes people, it's personal preference. Sometimes people think, why would I stand up the whole time? A lot of people, when you're just in there mowing a yard for 10 minutes, they prefer to stand up. and actually say that sitting down the whole day and kind of bouncing you around, you'll be more sore at the end of the day than if you were standing. So some people actually think the standing it's a comfort thing. Kevin, I'm gonna come to you in just a minute. So I'm gonna give you a second.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll take a couple more questions, but I want you to think, if you could think of maybe a story that you could share of how you've seen GPS Trackit benefit people. William's in North Carolina, and William, like I said, you pick your neighborhood that or three that has a lot of homes. I like the neighborhoods where they just keep building houses. I got one like 2 miles from my house, and they just keep building hundreds of houses, and they're all cookie cutter little yards with one tree in the front yard. And I love it. I'm like, that's my perfect customer right there. Matthew, I'm planning on using spectacle on all my lawns this fall. Lots of centipede. Plan on doing split outs, 4.5 ounces in September, and 3 45 to 60 days later, too aggressive, Central Georgia. Matthew, I would say that is too aggressive for centipede lawns. I'm using 4 ounces. Last year was my first year using spectacle on centipede and St. Arsene. I was using 4 ounces per acre, and it worked great. Very noticeable improvement over when I was using prodiamine. But you want to be careful. What the Bayer rep told me was it's basically 1 month of control for every ounce. So you're looking at 4.5 ounces. Let's say you put it out in October, that's going to carry you on to like February, but then you're putting 3 more ounces out, after that. So, I mean, what I'm afraid of is your centipede is going to be trying to recover the following spring, and you've put out so much spectacle that it's going to have a hard time recovering, because centipede can get beat up a little bit over the winter. So I would just go with the 4.5 ounces, or maybe even 4 ounces, and that's it. I wouldn't go back, and you save yourself some money, and I don't think you're going to lessen the results. I may have missed the answer if I was mentioning earlier. Does GPS Trackit have packages available for a lawn care trailer, trimmers, blowers, mowers? All right. Kevin, answer that, and then if you've got a story, I'd love to hear that as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely cover the trailers, 24/7, 365 support. Yep, and guarantee you'll love our customer support. We actually launched what we call customer success managers. So you'll have somebody there to be your advocate and just help you use the software at the end of the day, which is really important. But yeah, so there's tons of stories. I think some of our folks could write books on the stories that they've come out of from customer interactions and the way that GPS Trackit has been able to help customers. But we have small customer who they have 4 crews, and they were just sending them out, right? Like, we have 2 jobs over here, 3 jobs over there, getting back to that routing that we've talked about over and over again. And they were actually able to add in 1 job per day per crew. So that's 4 jobs a day that they were able to add in just by simply using the routing, communicating with their team, making sure that they're optimized here or there. So you figure out, 4 jobs a day, what the revenue is on that times how many ever weeks, and you get that much more revenue, which is, what we're all in it for. But, you think some people think this is for large customers. It really isn't. I mean, we have a family owned business that has 4 vehicles that's saving about $10,000 a year on fuel costs, just because of savings around, not setting in the van or the truck with the air conditioning down in Alabama, right? Running the gas out. So, yeah. So lots of stories, lots of examples. I think it's the good thing is the recommendation is just to start it, right? Get it in, get it plugged in, start using software. Let us help you figure out how it can make more impact. And at the end of the day, if it's not making impact to your business, I'd say turn it off, right? That would be the challenge for you.
And I believe, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think y'all running like a 1 month free right now. So if some of these people want to try it out, it's not like you're like signing up for a 5-year contract or anything.
Yeah, so we have a couple of things. Yeah, actually, so we have bring it up. There's gpstrackit.com/LCL. So for your listeners here, Jason, gpstrackit.com/LCL. We do offer no contract, so you have 30-day money back guarantee, no commitment whatsoever, and we think that we have to earn your business every day. So give it a try. If you like it, keep going. If not, you can send it back to us. We're also offering a 3-month free for a 1-year contract if you're interested in that. as well. But yeah, give us a buzz. We'd be glad to talk you through the different options. And again, Jason, appreciate the time today, and great podcast that you have going on here, helping small businesses get going and get started and improving their business.
Yeah, we have a good time. I really appreciate y'all's support. Well, I'm going to blow through a few more real quick. Paul says, I'll be seeing you in Minnesota. I am planning on going to Minnesota. I'm not sure if we're supposed to say why we're going for, but we have a sponsor that's taking us to Minnesota, and Paul and I are going. I'm excited about that. I haven't never. How do you think my accent will fly in Minnesota? I've never been that far north. I've made it to New York one time. For customers with first year sod, what pre-emerge hinder established should I wait? It depends on if it rooted or is it not rooted. The rule of thumb, I said this earlier, but if you've mowed it twice and it's rooted down, like today I looked at a yard and it was Bermuda grass and it was stuck to the ground. I mean, I wouldn't have no problem spraying a pre-emergent on it. But if you reach down with your bare hand and can pull it up, then I'm not gonna risk it. Again, the rule of thumb is if you've mowed it twice, and the reason that you say why is that, I think my understanding is sod is going to try to establish roots before it starts growing leaves. Of course it has leaves, but it's not going to. So the idea is when you mowed it twice, the idea is okay, it's already rooted itself. But I know I put some zoysia down last summer in my house, and this spring I went to move a piece of it, and I could basically almost pull it up with my bare hands still. And it'd been there for 9 months. So some grasses are going to be slower to root than others. Jamie, last year my St. Augustine suffered serious frost damage in Georgia. Should I fertilize with high potassium for winter stress? Now, I don't fertilize anything in the winter time. I just think you're going to get a cold winter, and I don't know what part of Georgia that is, but if you're, like me, there's St. Augustine grass in Birmingham, Alabama, and not very much. And what I've been told is we're kind of almost the northernmost limit for it. It's not necessarily a great idea to put out St. Augustine in our area, but it can survive. But you may get beat up in the winter, and if it does, it'll recover. Hopefully, if it's not dead, winter kill. But if it doesn't die, it's just damaged. It'll usually bounce back the next year. Hey there, I'm gonna say that's Buddy. I'm gonna translate that, Buddy. Thanks for the perspective on the cost of spectacle. I'll probably stick with Prodymene and spectacle maybe next fall. How often do you have a live feed? I've been doing these on Monday nights. I was doing them weekly. In the winter, I'll probably slack off maybe every other week. We'll see. But I'm planning to keep them going. I know I've got X-Mark coming up in maybe 2 weeks or maybe next week. I can't remember. Jason, how do you charge for leaf cleanup? I don't personally do leaf cleanup anymore, but depending on you could have like an all-inclusive lawn business where you do everything for them and you can kind of factor that in. But if you're just out there mowing grass and then somebody calls you and wants leaf cleanup, you got to have a little bit of experience to know if there's a few leaves on the yard, that's one thing, and it's probably not going to take you that much more time. But if it's a huge job and it's going to take you literally 4 times longer than it would for mowing grass, so you got to get a little experience to estimate your time and charge accordingly. And I would try to get your regular customers to allow you to do that on the same schedule. At least every 2 weeks, let me come do your leaves. Let's don't wait till every leaf literally falls off and then call me when you got 8 inches thick of leaves. And, I've told the story before. I had a Walker mower was trying to do this big leaf cleanup job when I first started, and the leaves all over the muffler. It caught on fire, and I had to get some hand wipes to try to put the fire out. And he's just like, don't get into that. All right. My yard's great grass in areas with shade, but the whole center gets no shade and covered with crabgrass. Should I bother to get rid of it? Or if it's truly crabgrass, just wait until freezing weather. If you're in a part of, unless you're so far south, you don't get any freezing weather, but let it die off with the cold weather. This late, I wouldn't worry about it, and then put your pre-emergent out early next year before it germinates and prevent it. Enjoy the channel is what William says. Appreciate that. Alex, what are your thoughts on the X-Mark Stars 36? I've got X-Mark Stars 60, and I like it a lot. I haven't tried the 36. I wouldn't make a 36-inch mower my primary mower, but if you're going to use that as your small mower to get through gates, I think it would probably be great. I've been spraying part of my lawn. I don't want to mow with vinegar and salt. Would you recommend this for areas? you're looking at sterilizing the soil, probably putting out a lot of salt and everything. I mean, I'm not saying, and I know I've done videos on things like that, testing out salt and vinegar and things like that. But practically speaking, I typically stick with herbicides. I think salt is not necessarily good for the soil. But I mean, if you truly want to sterilize it and just don't want nothing to grow, I guess that is an option. My lawn's been taken over by white clover. A lot of products that kill that. You can go on YouTube and search Lawn Care Life white clover, and I've got videos showing multiple products and testing them side by side. I was late. What's the deal with the GPS deal you got going on? GPS Trackit is our guest tonight. They're a regular sponsor on my channel. You'll be hearing more about them, but it's a device that you put in your truck or you can put on your equipment. It has a software side to it. It tracks you to help you be more efficient in your business and provide some other things. You can go back and watch the replay if you guys were late. The replay will be on the channel. It takes a little while to process, but by tomorrow it will be on there. You can go back and watch the rest of it. Personal preference: Kentucky 31 or tall fescue. I'm in the South. We don't deal with those. I'm sorry. So they would both die in Alabama, I can assure you. Have you mentioned adding another app to your program? Could you mention that? Yes, I am adding probably going to 8 apps next year, and it's going to be adding Spectacle in May to help with the Kalinga and Doveweed and to help my pre-emergent carry me on in the summer to knock out stuff like chamber bitter, spurs, things like that. Thanks, Kevin, for coming on. Good information on your cool products. Thanks, Jason, for your comment. And that's our last one. We survived. We're 6 minutes over, but that's not too terrible. Kevin,
Pretty
really
good.
Appreciate you being with us. GPS Trackit. It really is a cool device. I got it. I've been putting it on my channel, and it's super easy. And that's if it's not easy, I don't want it. So.
That's right. That's exactly right. Really appreciate it, Jason. Great to chat with you this evening, and appreciate what you're doing for the businesses that are out there for sure.
All right, sounds good. Actually, I'm not going to be on here next Monday night because I am going to Minnesota. So probably going to be 2 weeks. We'll be back right here for you guys. Check it out on replay. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later. Bye.